My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. This is the entity. This is Delta Airlines, which is being used to cross path right here at Philadelphia and Euclid Avenue. I'm sitting at the This is all crossing path they're monitoring. A Torrance, California business crossing path they're monitoring. And this is located at the U.S. Fuels. The entity engaging in criminal summoning. Sounding sirens. This is 2155 Euclid Avenue in Ontario, where Delta Airlines is Crossing Path. Remember, this is Economy Inn right here. The grocery, that's Economy Inn, the building. That's where the Ontario International Airport, where I'm at that hotel. Hovering, flying south over the hotel, amplifying plane activity as though they're engaging in taking flight above that hotel. Stalking, in other words. It's currently 6:19 a.m. where Delta Airlines is a third party engaging in gang stalking, and the property is filled with all engineer light. That's not sunlight. It's not the sunlight. This is the entity stalking with light as a population and maintaining patrolling plane activity. All right, that's P.O.C. Audible activity, crossing path, engineer light, crossing path, monitoring together above. And the demons of the City of Ontario are maintaining sirens. That's audible activity. And ongoing pacing. It's massive facilitation. This is, again, surveillance. They're all gang stalking together. This is Philadelphia and Euclid Avenue, and this is the entity that is engaging in gang stalking. This is what they were doing at the Metro 102 apartments, hovering over that apartment complex very foolishly on video. It's direct evidence of the Alan D. Wapner's necessity of the removal of Alan D. Wapner, the necessity that Alan D. Wapner be removed. Because ongoing surveillance by the Ontario International Airport and every corrupt airlines, which is speaking to corrupt businesses, while they're engaging in practicing federal group stalking and monitoring, which is the key violation regarding the plethora of federal laws that the Ontario International Airport and every airlines are violating while they're engaging in gang stalking, and they're going to be prosecuted in a federal RICO case. This is P.O.C. It's 6:20 a.m. Off of the Wells Fargo building, the Wells Fargo at 240 North Euclid Avenue. This is the Ontario downtown apartments. This is where the entity is keeping the fake sun at the Ontario Town Square, where the Metro 102 apartments is where United Airlines and UPS and Southwest Airlines, while the fake sun is at B Street in Euclid. It's idle at that intersection, while the entity is maintaining frequent flights hovering over the Metro 102 apartments, and the people of the state are pacing as you're recognizing the crime scene where gang stalking under a fake sun and an engineer light centered around the location and conduct behavior of an individual is underway. It is currently 6:30 a.m. and I am engaging in the exact opposite. Not only am I not remaining idle at one location, your lieutenants of peculiarized light, that's the same gang stalker graffiti company, while the fake sun is moving in real time, while I am in the direction north, passing El Pesador, passing the Tabor Professional Building, passing Woodside Senior Apartments, passing 7-Eleven at 636 North Vine Avenue, and the fake sun is passing in real time with me. All right, that is the what you're juxtaposing, the crime scene, where you're looking at what are indeed stalkers who are demons, and they are stalking as a society, remaining where that crime scene remains, regardless of where that crime scene is, or regardless of how quickly that crime scene travels, where the targeted individual travels. And that's how you have the fake sun keeping in perfect alignment with me, while the bus is driving north in the direction from the City of Ontario, from the location of where I am yesterday, while I'm remaining in the City of Ontario. I'm on Euclid Avenue going into the City of Upland, and I've documented this for years. Not only is OMNITRANS identified as a gang stalker on the roads and the highways, in concert with the people of the state, monitoring on the roads and the highways, knowing what I'm saying, knowing who I am, and that knowledge is based on the fake sun that's remaining through the window of the bus that I'm on, in a manner that is impossible to coexist with being over the 7-Eleven that I documented yesterday, while the demons are stalking me inside of that market, where the Ontario Police Department is stalking by flying over that 7-Eleven, where I'm remaining at the, for example, remaining at the Ontario Town Square, and I'm remaining at the Metro 102 apartments in the parking lot. Okay, this is everything that I'm documenting yesterday morning, where Corey Watson and the entity that is gang stalking as a third party at the Ontario Town Square are engaging in criminal summoning together under a fake sun, where that fake sun was rising at the Ontario Town Square. And then even bigger than that, the entity's keeping the fake sun, as I documented, in Las Vegas, Nevada, outside of my hotel room at the Courtyard by Marriott, off of Dean Martin Road, and keeping the fake sun over me while I then drive from Las Vegas, Nevada at 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, while the entity keeps the fake sun over me in Ontario, California on one street at one building, which is, again, as of late, the OVITT Family Community Library. This is the P.O.C. It's the disbanding of the Ontario Police Department. And as I go from city to city, the entity is engaging in the template that the City of Ontario has provided. The entire city is engaging in the pattern of conduct, and that's shared with every business. That's what OMNITRANS represents. That's what the gang stalking airlines represent. And that's what the people of the state are. They're in the shoes of the state. The people of the state are gang stalking in their homes while the fake sun remains over me, while I'm crossing path as they are gang stalking in position in their facilitating venues, not private properties. This is P.O.C. It's currently 6:33 a.m. This is the entity maintenance of engineer light, because not only is it not sun, this is not sunlight. While the entity maintains this engineer light on the bus. Okay, that's my shadow. That's the pattern of conduct. This is the 6th Street and Euclid. And I'm documenting the entity keeping the fake sun along Euclid Avenue in the afternoon, going into the city of Upland, California, and driving in the opposite direction along the same street. This is P.O.C. Gang stalking, crossing path, crossing path, crossing path, crossing path. 9 RZS 105 is capable of being prosecuted for federal stalking. And she knows who I am. This is a demon. And everybody on the 10 freeway. That's the pattern of conduct. And this is not in alignment with being at the Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue. And it's not going to be in a natural environment at 7:15 a.m. outside of that hotel, like I documented on video, in order to capture the crime scene where the state of California is engaging in criminal surveillance. And it's a demonic system. This is P.O.C. It's 6:34 a.m. It is Thursday, August 7, 2025. And the videos that you just listened to are capturing the entity engaging in state surveillance via the Ontario International Airport. I'm capturing Delta Airlines that is gang stalking amongst the maintenance of engineer light that is all over the facilitating venues where traffic is a core means, the chief means of surveillance, stalkers that are surrounding while they are maintaining presence as an entity on the roads and the highways. This is federal stalking under Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2, as you are looking at the physical operation, the execution of gang stalking amongst a public entity that is both the government that is gang stalking directly and the government that is gang stalking vicariously via the people of the state who are not individuals, they are not private citizens, and they're engaging in specific and intentional and deliberate and malicious criminal conduct. And it is gang stalking in the vernacular. It is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is surveillance that is underway, and it is centered around one person, and the entity that is doing so under a fake sun at Philadelphia and Euclid Avenue is proving that. The surveillance of the Ontario International Airport flying in the direction west, specifically Delta Airlines, and the frequency of those planes. I took picture and video maintaining second by second flight over the intersection where I'm located in the direction west. And you're recalling the documentation where the entity is flying south over the hotel venue in order to cross path with me, and also to engage in the maintenance of amplified audible activity, sensational activity that is harassing me and terrorizing me while I'm remaining inside of a private space of the hotel, where the entity is, again, not engaging in any arrivals or departures from the airport, merely stalking in the most absurd, expensive, corrupt manners, and also obvious with regard to the maintenance of commercial flight over not only Philadelphia and Euclid Avenue, but because that is hovering elevation, and it's also the frequency where the entity is not having a line of Delta airline planes 47 seconds apart flying over through the city of Ontario and hovering over that intersection. The entity is engaging in what is obsessive stalking, and use of commercial planes is getting to the federal RICO case against every business, and it includes the businesses engaging in airlines in this with the city of Ontario that are gang stalking. The engineer light is all over the buildings at Euclid Avenue in Philadelphia. And as I'm on the next video that you're listening to, I am on OMNITRANS Route 83 in the direction north, and the video starts at 6:29 a.m. and you will reconcile that, and it is impossible. The reconciliation is that the pattern of conduct, of the inconsistency of an environment showing a pattern of maintaining that impossible, inconsistent environment around me. That's the specific environment that is conducive to surveillance. You are identifying a stranger that is maliciously targeting as a third party and state actor, and they are masquerading as a stranger. These are not strangers. These are the people of the state and the government that are engaging in stalking, and this stalking is identified in that specific environment that is entirely supernatural, and it is absurd for the entity to be caught in that crime scene, but this is what they are doing while they are stalking, and this is how the system operates, and that's how I have what is maintaining stationary presence at the Metro 102 apartments at 6:35 a.m. on video, where the government is hovering in small planes and then graduating, escalating to what is gang stalking using commercial planes, while I'm standing in position, and the fake sun is also standing in position at the same location, the Metro 102 apartments, where you're also looking at the maintenance of the fake sun at that's the same location where the Ontario Town Square, the Ontario City Hall, the OVITT Family Community Library. In other words, the fake sun is not only there at 6:35 a.m. where the entity is stalking, hovering over Metro 102 apartments using commercial flight. I am stationary at that address, and you're looking at stalking, like I stated when I captured it on video. None of it is anywhere near what would be the Philadelphia and Euclid Avenue, where the Ontario International Airport is maintaining flight today, as I'm capturing that on video, and as I'm on Route 83 and maintaining presence on that bus route, okay, on this bus route that I'm on right now. So you're understanding what is then the movement of that fake sun that is not going to be in the window of OMNITRANS that's in motion driving north of Euclid Avenue, and at the same time stationary at Metro 102 apartments, where again the pattern of conduct, the behavioral pattern in that inconsistent environment that is maintained around me. And that's where you're recognizing a pattern of what is proven stalking and its psychopathic behavior that is psychologically harmful and designed to keep one person under surveillance. And the one person that is under surveillance is also documenting it, that is enforcing their rights against the government, that the government is aware of, and the government engages in increasingly aggressive, psychopathic, threatening, and sexually violent and harassing criminal conduct. No problem. The entity is engaging, that's all audible activity. OMNITRANS is monitoring me, and the entity is doing so under that fake sun, okay? While he walks on and off the bus, the pattern of conduct of stalking with impossible light coexists. Not only is this not the sun that's remaining as you are listening to me narrating, you can see the video. The fake sun is stationary yesterday at 6:35 a.m. in that substantial video that I documented, which I told you then is going to be used to prosecute the whole state of California, and you are witnessing 24 hours later that fake sun then is dynamic and moving in real time in a manner that is impossible, because at the same time the sun is not both stationary and then also dynamic, moving in a specific direction. If I was on OMNITRANS going south, then that fake sun would be, and it is because I'm on OMNITRANS Route 83, and I'm going to capture video of the fake sun on the same street going in the opposite direction where I am in Ontario yesterday, remaining stationary, including now at 6:42 a.m. I am documenting on podcast and images and on video ongoing obsessive and delusional behavior of demons that are stalking in commercial planes and stalking as a society, sounding sirens, gang stalking as a corrupt company, Securitas, that engaged in criminal summoning in the same exact specific environment with the co-defendants that I'm documenting on podcast under the fake sun at the Metro 102 apartments at the Ontario Town Square, and I'm in the city of Upland, and the entity is keeping the fake sun over me and now moving in the opposite direction. On video, you're looking at it at the same time that it is stationary at Metro 102 apartments where the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking with the people of the state. The 24 hours later at 6:29 a.m. and the video ends at approximately 6:35 a.m. The fake sun is not stationary. It's reflecting off of the windows of the Wells Fargo Bank at 240 North Euclid Avenue as you pay attention to the detail of stalking with a light source, where demons are proven to be stalking as a population. That's the government keeping one person under surveillance through that civilian population, and it is also documentation, a proof of what is domestic terrorism and psychological torture and sexual violence as a society. The entity is keeping that fake sun while you're looking at that, which is at Metro 102. It is not on the opposite side of that Metro 102 apartment to be reflecting off of the Wells Fargo at 240 North Euclid Avenue. These are the details you're paying attention to, and it's also not both stationary and then at the same time dynamic as I'm on OMNITRANS that is driving, moving, and that fake sun is moving, both stationary over me and dynamic remaining over me while I'm on a bus moving away from the location where I remained at the same time yesterday. That's the documentation proving that the state of Nevada is keeping me under surveillance, as well as the state of California is keeping me under surveillance. And that's the significance of what I'm narrating, and I'm capturing images right now of that same population and the same company. Understand that Alan D. WAPNER is in position of leadership over the gang stalking underway by the city of Upland while I'm on OMNITRANS, the city of Ontario, in concert with third-party OMNITRANS, and doing so while I am documenting that. It is currently 6:44 a.m. where I'm capturing that pattern of conduct. And the employee is employee number 3635. This is a male that's engaging in the pattern of conduct and molesting me with impossible light, which is the pattern of stalking with impossible light activity while you are being gang stalked by companies, by the people that represent the people of the state that are making money. That's the federal RICO case. And it's also the federal RICO case while the people of the state, for example, like I'm documenting inside of 7-Eleven, are stalking you inside of that establishment. That's also the federal RICO case against corrupt establishments. Everybody getting on this bus is gang stalking. Everybody in traffic around this bus is gang stalking. The government is gang stalking via the fire, police, and ambulance, the state that's engaging in aerial surveillance. That's the federal RICO case against the people of the state that are profiting off of gang stalking, terrorizing me as the target individual and as a patron and as one that has a right to not be subject to the corrupt business practices of OMNITRANS and fill in the blank of every other business. That's the federal RICO case against the people of the state, against the government. All right, and this is relevant to what it is that you're looking at, not just the fact that the fake sun evidence is prosecuting whoever it is around me right now in the state of California while I'm on OMNITRANS, but the bigger picture is that the entity kept the fake sun while I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada. The entity kept the fake sun while I am traveling from Las Vegas, Nevada into the state of California, the entirety of that route, where I'm documenting Barstow law enforcement gang stalking me on the roads and the highways, where I'm documenting the entity keeping the fake sun over me while I'm nowhere near the city of Ontario. I'm in 2024 is what I'm referencing. And this year and yesterday, I am remaining at one location as opposed to traveling through on transportation, and that crime scene is moving in real time. That's demonic. It's the maintenance of the crime scene where criminal activity is underway by the population. And it is the prosecution of the state directly and vicariously. And in the immediate circumstances that OMNITRANS is engaging in that on the roads and highways, and it's a federal stalking conduct. You're comparing this with the entity keeping the fake sun stationary, rising and setting at Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue. It is the P.O.C. It's currently 6:46 a.m. and I am at Uptown and Country Shopping Plaza, where you will see the fake sun in alignment along the driver's side of the window as I'm sitting at the front of the bus. And that's what the entity was doing, having the fake sun while the bus was driving in the direction north of Euclid Avenue, now driving in the direction south on Euclid Avenue. The fake sun along the same street is remaining in alignment to me as the bus is traveling along the same street. That's north and south, moving to keep in alignment with me, while the entity is at the same time yesterday keeping the fake sun stationary at the Metro 102 apartments, where the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking with the people of the state on the roads and the highways, gang stalking by venue where they live, the Metro 102 apartment complex, the 280 North Lemon apartments, the Ontario Town Square, where United Airlines, Southwest Airlines, UPS's corporate headquarters is located in Atlanta, Georgia. Southwest Airlines is the corporate headquarters where they are gang stalking as a corrupt company, conspiring the murder of that targeted individual and engaging in federal stalking while monitoring that target individual whom they know are documenting that company, and they're doing so with the intent to psychologically torture. Their corporate headquarters is located in Dallas, Texas. All right. The entity is gang stalking with United Airlines, which is the corporate headquarters is located in what is no problem. The United Airlines corporate headquarters is that which I will also document. It is currently 6:47 a.m. just to understand how you're going to prosecute, just to show you how you're recognizing the prosecution, the civil and criminal prosecution. The entity, this is audible activity. This is communication devices, walking in engineer light. And the entity is systematically monitoring both with the company, with the people of the state that are on a bus stalking together. And that is understanding mental illness of a population of the same condition and the same
maintenance of that specific environment for that same criminal purpose. And this is understanding that is what is mental illness that is born by a civilization that is not so civilized. It's actually barbaric, while it's occurring under the illusion of normalcy, under the illusion where mental illness is presenting as normalcy, mental illness is presenting as what is expected amongst what are quote-unquote normal people who are not engaging in malicious criminal conduct as a population, as a government program. This is exposing mental illness that is occurring and existing in plain sight. This is speaking to public corruption that's existing in plain sight. And this is speaking to the entity that targets American citizens. All right, it's 6:49 a.m. on August 7, 2025. These are images that'll be uploaded to the Google Drive. And this is P.O.C. Alright, this is documentation of what is Upland Library, what is Arrow and UPLAND Avenue in Upland, California at 450 North UPTOWN. Where the entity is keeping the fake sun over me at the Upland Public Library, as I have heavily documented, including on OMNITRANS, and the entity has the fake sun in Upland, California, while I am at the same time in Ontario, California, on video, where the Ontario International Airport and the corrupt airlines of United Airlines, Southwest Airlines, UPS, FedEx Airlines are engaging in criminal conduct for which they are civilly and criminally liable, and so is Alan D. WAPNER as a domestic terrorist who is going to be removed from position. That includes Paul Leon, who's going to be removed from position. This includes Mike Lorenz, the gang stalking Ontario Police Department engaging in criminal summoning, that is going to be removed from position, and the gang stalking police officers who are going to federal prison, the Ontario Police that is being disbanded. All of this is under the umbrella of documenting gang stalking and the maintenance of that specific environment, which is impossible, irreconcilable with science and nature. And this is where the entity is maintaining that fake sun in Upland, California. Impossible light activity on the bus, where the people of the state are gang stalking on the roads and the highways through what is also the corrupt business practices, while you are making money and engaging in federal stalking at the same time. And then it's also unlawful to engage in what is obstructing justice, what is sexual violence, what is conspiring murder. This is all relevant to the plethora of crimes regarding racketeering, the federal RICO case against the people of the state, against the government that is monitoring. And those are images that are proving that coexisting environment 24 hours later, which is impossible to be anything other than the P.O.C. as I've shown it already. It is currently 6:55 a.m. and I am capturing the fake sun at 8th Street, passing the ARCO on 8th Street and Euclid Avenue, where the fake sun is in perfect alignment with me. Pay attention to the flashing engineered light along the wall panel of the bus. That's impossible light activity. This is also impossible light activity because the sun is in Ontario at Metro 102 Apartments. That also is rendering it as impossible light activity. This is speaking to the maintenance of that fake sun in alignment to me, which is speaking to very specific conduct that people are sharing in. It is not anonymous and nor mysterious, and nor is it anything that is going to be disregarded in a federal case to prosecute the government for criminal monitoring, okay? This is the pattern of conduct. This is the engineer light, where you're recognizing stalking by those that are over and under the age of majority, and they share the condition of what is recognizing criminal activity. And this is the pattern of conduct while unity is engaging in that. And this is Euclid Avenue, coming to the 10 freeway, where I just documented in the opposite direction. The fake sun was moving in the direction north. Now it's moving in the direction south. That's recognizing 9AGUO64 is engaging in gang stalking, federal stalking on the roads and the highways. And that's what the entity is doing. That's what the city of Ontario is doing under the fake sun in the private space, with knowledge that their criminal activity is being documented, because I am under surveillance, not only on communication devices, but also on the venue of the internet. 8KSJ038 is engaging in surveillance in concert with the people on the bus and the person driving the bus. And the bus itself is a means of monitoring. Okay? This is the pattern of conduct. Everything that the bus driver is doing is centered on me. That same demonic pattern of stalking activity is the entity that's engaging in what is activity creation, and that's a terrorizing threat, by the way. And it's also harassment. Okay, so understand that that's what they're doing inside of a hotel room while you're being monitored, every move that you make, including as you document it. This is the fake sun that's providing what is the important context about what it is that I'm narrating. And this is the impossible light. All right, at 6:55 a.m. yesterday, entity is keeping the fake sun over me. The admin department in the shadows of the bus passengers on the panel wall, and I'm facing the sun. And the sun is in Upland, California, that's the 10 freeway, while I am in Ontario 24 hours ago, and the fake sun is not possibly at the same time stationary and dynamic, remaining over everyone, no matter what direction that they're traveling in, no matter how long that they stay there. And this is not in Florida right now, 3 hours ahead at 9:55 a.m. As I showed you, the fake sun does not exceed beyond Euclid Avenue at the OVITT Community Library when I'm there, nor over Starbucks at 507 Euclid Avenue, because I'm documenting at around the same time Starbucks that committed kidnapping on July 4, 2025, and looking to obstruct justice because of possibility regarding the criminal conduct that they are engaged in while maintaining a corrupt business, and they engaged in gang stalking, kidnapping with the Ontario Police Department under the fake sun on July 4, 2025. This is a pattern of conduct, and this is the prosecution of the state of California, and the federal RICO case against the businesses, all of whom are engaged in criminal surveillance and the conspiracy to murder while they are keeping an American citizen who's against the crime and murder of that American citizen. It is currently 6:58 a.m. This is Chafee High School. This is P.O.C.
Thank you.
This is Chafee High School at 5th Street and Euclid Avenue. This is P.O.C. Already capturing video so that you can see the ongoing juxtaposition of the crime scene where I'm remaining stationary at one address, and then when I am moving, even going beyond the same address on video. For example, what OMNITRANS is providing an example of the criminal conduct that every business is engaging in and that every citizen in the state of California is engaging in, which is criminal monitoring, state surveillance, and it is government action. It's all state conduct, and this is the illusion of private citizens versus the public entity, and that is an illusion that is entirely malicious in order to protect the non-existent rights under the Constitution for individuals exercising freedom of speech while they are engaging in state surveillance with the government, in the shoes of the government, which is the mask that the government is wearing, where the people of the state are gang stalking, and businesses represent the people of the state in a commercial capacity in their gang stalking, just like what I'm capturing proof of on video, where you are in that specific environment in a manner that is entirely irreconcilable with what could ever, in other words, possibly happen naturally. This is speaking to not only criminal conduct that is malicious, it's designed to never be proven, and the entity is doing that while they maintain an organized system of murdering American citizens who suffer in ways that they are never even aware of, that they're targeted by, and in ways that are inexplicable, and it's designed to falsely depict the character of that American citizen. And this is a tragic injustice while the entity engages in what is gang stalking, and that's the comparison between also the public entity, the city of Ontario, the city of Upland, California, while I'm showing you the fake sun removing itself from being idle. But I captured that, and that's the record that remains, and I'm also capturing what could not possibly occur at the same time, but I capture that because that's the record that remains, because that's the criminal conduct of the government, that's gang stalking, in ways that are entirely impossible to exist in. But for documentation, the entity is engaging in kidnapping an American citizen, falsely depicting their character as being mentally ill, and engaging in what is theft of their property upon exercising jurisdiction authority under laws where they're exercising fictitious authority because they're engaging in surveillance in the first place, because they're engaging in conspiring against American citizens in the first place, and they are doing so while they are conspiring the murder and kidnapping of that target individual whom they are keeping under surveillance as a whole operation, a whole program of stalking. And this is of surveillance, because that's what surveillance is. It is stalking by the government when there's no warrant or probable cause. There's no legitimate interest, so the government is plain stalking. And the government is a sex offender as it is stalking. The government is a psychopath, shown through the behavioral pattern of the stalker, which is shared by the people of the state in every mode, and the government itself, the firefighters, the police departments, the ambulance operators. The entity is gang stalking through the public officials and their offices. There is no exception to that. As the specific environment shows, there is no exception to that, and there's no exception to that pattern of conduct. Okay? The entity is driving right by the Ontario 507 North Euclid Avenue, where the entity is maintaining the fake sign in alignment to me, which is showing how Starbucks is targeting me while that fake sign is remaining in the window of Starbucks, where Starbucks is engaging in kidnapping. And again, those employees are third parties, and they're going to federal prison for kidnapping with L. Edwards, A. Quesada, and Alex Escobar, like I documented in July 4th, 2025. Thank you. This is P.O.C. This is, again, employee number 3635, and it is license plate. I'm going to get it right now. It's bus number 1224. And it is license plate 1613616. And the fake sun is no longer moving in step with the bus that I'm on, in the same way that the fake sun is no longer remaining at Starbucks, at the Economy Inn. The fake sun is no longer remaining at Woodside Senior Apartments over Tracy Banks's apartment. The fake sun is no longer remaining at, what is the Tapor Professional Building? At the 7-Eleven at 636 North Vine Avenue. The fake sun is no longer moving while I'm on a bus that drove north up Euclid Avenue, keeping in step with me, as I documented proof of, and south on that same street, going through different cities and doing so while I am remaining stationary 24 hours ago at one location. That's the Metro 102 apartments. And that is what the entity is doing with all levels of government that are gang stalking. And while you are surrounded with that evidence, the psychopaths who are going to be removed from position, they include Mike LORENZ, Alan D. WAPNER, Michael GERKEN, and Paul Leon and everyone else on the Ontario City Council, while you are witnessing unheard of and unfathomable and egregious criminal conduct of the highest level of malice that is possible when conspiring against the murder and psychologically torturing an American citizen, which is what United Airlines, Delta Airlines, Southwest Airlines, UPS, Amazon Prime Air, American Airlines, Frontier Airlines, every other gang stalker that is engaging in the pattern of conduct as I have documented them, while they are keeping me under surveillance and they're having a good time doing it on video like fools, because those are demons that lack self-control and they murder American citizens systematically, and they've been doing it for a long time. And so this is showing you not only the mental illness of those that are gang stalking using commercial planes. I will show you the entirety of that crime scene where they're engaging in a pattern of conduct as a whole operation. The whole city is in gang stalking, like the Ontario International Airport is demonstrating, which is relevant to a federal RICO case. That's what's relevant to, that's what's proven by the maintenance of a fake sun moving over me and the maintenance of a fake sun stationary as I am stationary in one city. And that is where the entity was concentrating commercial flights that have nothing to do with what would be taking off immediate sharp incline into the sky space at 2500 and 2900 Airport Drive, which is speaking to the maintenance of flight from those terminals and not deviating to fly miles away from that airport to then lower in elevation to fly above the roof of Metro 102 apartments at the frequency with which they were doing it every 1.5 to 4 minutes while I am documenting in the environment where engineer light is covering everything. Remember, it's not just not the fake sun, it's also not sunlight. This is a whole environment that is an illusion with regard to the mental illness of those that are gang stalking no longer secretly in California. No longer are they either threatening the lives of American citizens where you do not know that you're surrounded by mentally ill psychopaths who will not hesitate to take your life and be convinced that they'll get away with it, while the gang stalking police, the gang stalking government body are targeting you and are profiting, are incentivizing that sort of targeting with regard to that pattern of conduct. And that's what's unlawful, and that's what justice is going to address with regard to gang stalking by corrupt businesses such as United Airlines, Southwest Airlines, UPS Airlines, Delta Airlines, that are engaging in that pattern of conduct as I'm capturing it. All right, because that's what the entity is doing while I am while I am at the Philadelphia and Euclid Avenue bus stop, and Delta Airlines is maintaining frequent flight in the direction west, hovering over that intersection. I can see the blue underbelly of the plane. They're maintaining flights, and I want to be clear, Delta Airlines on the Ontario International Airport is not maintaining any sort of published information where flights are systematically departing from Terminal 2 or Terminal 4 at the frequency of every 4.5 to 5 minutes. But the frequency with which they're flying over that intersection, they're seconds apart. They're about 35 seconds apart because it's plane after plane after plane after plane, and this is what every airline is participating in. And it's surveillance. And they're engaging in surveillance in furtherance of a conspiracy to murder an American citizen whom they are unlawfully keeping under surveillance with the government. Okay, and they're also profiting from it. They make money as a company engaging in gang stalking with the government in the city of Ontario, in the state of California. Bigger picture is that these same companies are the ones that are not engaging in accidents, tragic accidents, where American citizens who pay to be aboard these flights, their lives are taken. All right, they fly into helicopters, and then it's presented on the news as an accident. It's discussed in congressional hearings regarding the airport authorities, demons like Alan D. Wapner, who are engaging in gang stalking. And these are the parts of the discourse that are never discussed when they are acts of terrorism and they are presented in another manner in the United States of America. And because the United States of America is making money while demons are maintaining commercial flights, businesses that you know the name of, like Delta Airlines, who are clearly gang stalking, United Airlines that are clearly gang stalking on one day with impunity and disregard, and then forgetful, short-sighted, because I'm going to take that same evidence and I'm going to show you how they are murderers, how they are terrorists, how they are sex offenders, how they are enemies of the United States of America. While the United States of America targets American citizens, yes, and makes money with them together, capitalistic endeavors upon targeting American citizens, enemies of the American citizens, while they target them. All right, it is currently, and that's, remember, it's that, don't get lost in the trees, because that company, that conduct of that nature, meaning stalking by commercial planes, that's illustrative regarding what all of the state of California, what every business is doing, because, for example, UPS is gang stalking while they hire demons that drive their vehicles with the same logo, same business, same criminal conduct, okay? And you're understanding what every business is doing, what every establishment is doing, as I am on OMNITRANS and the entity is gang stalking. So the foolishness, and this is what I'm talking about when I'm documenting, there's no mystery here. It's also no mystery about who the entity is targeting. And so you're not going to be captured engaging what is clearly targeting, like you have no worry in the world because no one's ever going to find out because the entity has been engaged in, they already committed attempted murder, had no intention to ever be held accountable, and to steal my intellectual property, the very evidence of the fake Sun documentation, the very demons themselves stealing my intellectual property, censoring my speech on the venue of the internet, while other demons are using my same intellectual property and they're not being censored and they're making a lot of money off of it as well. And the entity is engaging in what is attempted murder, trying to both steal my intellectual property and then also obstruct justice, because Delta Airlines never anticipate, United Airlines, Alan D. Wapner, Mike Lorenz, and you have what is Corey Watson, that engaged in kidnapping with the intent to obstruct justice, terrorism, obstruction of justice, and they had every intention to get away with it while conspiring my murder, committing attempted murder as an entity, having every intention to get away with this. A lot of people are going to federal prison, absolutely, and you're recognizing the impunity of mentally ill terrorists who are surrounded with evidence that they never intended to be caught by, okay, because they intended to kill me. That's a government act. While they are targeting me together, they intended to kill me and steal this very intellectual property. And you would have never known that it is the product of, the creation of, out of the mind of the person that is no longer around. Okay, this is what the government does all the time. And I want to be clear, when I'm referencing the government, I'm referencing people who steal ideas and then they make movies. They steal ideas and they create television shows. They steal ideas and they create businesses, and they have stolen them from American citizens that have been targeted. They're 6 feet under. They've been gang stalked and they're sitting around kidnapped somewhere in a mental asylum, and you never know that the entity is profiting off of. And that's what I mean. These are not private actors. These so-called movie producers, these celebrities, these business owners, Amazon Prime, Facebook, those are not private actors. Those are third parties. And the entity is engaging what is profiting off of the backs of targeted individuals. They steal. So I want to be clear. Trademark, copyright infringement pursuant to gang stalking. That is murder in order to commit infringement. All right. This is understanding what is a whole unprecedented basis to prosecute. And I don't care what corner of the country or world that you're in, stealing my idea, where I'm exposing this criminal system, I'm going to prosecute you. You don't have any constitutional right, at all. You don't have any right whatever country that you're in, but the entity that's engaging in that is doing so pursuant to very specific demons that know who I am, that targeted me at the outset and incentivizing the government that is targeting. But I want to be clear with regard to prosecuting the government is acting vicariously. So Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields, they're not acting as individuals. They are merely an example of how the government acts against targeted individuals and doing so through conspiring the murder in order to commit copyright infringement. These are the extent to which you are looking at the government that engages in the pattern of conduct in order to steal from targeted individuals, and doing so as a act of a corrupt society. Okay, that person didn't steal by themselves, and that person doesn't act as an individual. This is a surveillance state. And the entity is engaging in what is the maintenance of a massive illusion, and this is shattering all of those illusions. And it's also, again, while they're operating under these illusions, these demons are delusional, and they're being prosecuted while their delusional behaviors have already completed a prosecution that is witnessed on the internet. And third parties that are in any way interfering with that acquisition of justice and exposure of that unlawful threat to any American citizen, because this is an existing threat to everyone, not just myself. It immediately threatens me, but it is a threat to everyone, and anyone interfering with that. That's also an act of obstruction of justice and an act of corruption, and it is one that is actionable for my purposes, because I remain subject to this threat where Ontario police are gang stalking, and you know that they're demons, you know that they're engaged in surveillance, you know that they're sex offenders worshiping my vagina. That specific, you know all of that based on not only the wealth of evidence about the Ontario Police Department, but the pattern of conduct that they're engaging in. The fake sun that's over me while they're driving by on Euclid Avenue is the crime scene where they are engaging in surveillance, specifically targeting me in that environment. That's why I'm being covered in engineered light while they drive by, not having to address me, not having to say anything to me. Gang stalking where the Ontario International Airport is maintaining flight, where there's no flights coming from that airport, where you're hovering over the storefront, where you're engaging in anything other than targeting with the Ontario Police Department that are gang stalking with the people of the state. There's a whole greater context regarding everything that the Ontario Police Department are engaging in and facilitating, and that's why they are also going to be disbanded, because it is a matter of the betterment of society, the protection of American citizens, the maintenance of what is law and order, and Ontario Police Department contribute to lawlessness. They are the reason for lawlessness in the city of Ontario, and they are committed to criminal activity as opposed to law enforcement. They've engaged in what is documented acts of systematic kidnappings with the intent to obstruct justice, and they do so with the documentation, a wealth of documentation showing not only are they criminals, not only are they demons, i.e. mentally ill, but they act with a level of impunity that the federal court, the federal government that is going to provide justice, which is going to include disbanding. The federal government has witnessed how Mike Lorenz, how the Ontario Police Department have literally begged the federal government to disband them. Their attitude upon being exposed as being corrupt criminals, acting as though there are no consequences because they've engaged in this lawlessness for so long. That is also what you are paying attention to. They are being disbanded for all of the above. Not just the criminal conduct, but your attitude toward that which you are exposing, that which you know is unlawful, that which you know you should not be doing, because that's why you have police officers engaging in criminal conduct, organized crime. Because those are the last ones that expect to be held accountable. Those are the ones that help everybody get away with it. That's the cloak. That's the illusion. They're being disbanded. They're being disbanded for the gang stalking by the Ontario International Airport. They're being disbanded for the gang stalking of the people of the state. Those that are gang stalking at the hotels, at the grocery store, at the library, they're being disbanded for all of the above. The lawlessness that they are participating in, facilitating, and incentivizing, they are being disbanded. They are a demon-infected or a pus-infected wound. They represent a harm to the public. It is a matter of justice. It is necessary to remove the Ontario Police Department, and it's also necessary with regard to what is the federal government's response to domestic terrorism in this country. It's not going to be tolerated, nor is that attitude. The Ontario Police Department and the corrupt law enforcement agencies represent that this is okay to engage in and that there's no consequences for engaging in it, and that you can engage in this, and that it's going to be met with, responded to with a slap on the wrist, and it is not. It's not. They're going to be disbanded. And gang stalking police officers, and they're going to federal prison. They're going to federal prison. All right, it is currently 7:16 a.m. I am standing in engineer light in the shade while a bunch of demons who you hear, they're engaging in gang stalking. License 4YVT009. That's a Latino male driving a van. AMR 8172 7R3, I believe. AMR is gang stalking. I don't even need the license plate. That company itself is engaged in gang stalking, criminal surveillance. You'll see my shadow on the trash can. You'll see my shadow on the street where these demons are driving in the shade, and you will see the fake sun that's no longer moving like it was on video, like it was in images while I'm on OMNITRANS. So the two are not happening at the same time. These are all demons and they're all stalking, and these are not strangers. This is shattering that illusion. And the Ontario Police Department is going to be disbanded for the psychological torture that they practice as a corrupt department, intending to psychologically harm, intending to harass and terrorize, intending to violate with the intent to put an American citizen in the perfect circumstance. Perfect circumstance meaning they're in a circumstance where they can control the narrative, take your life, kidnap you, but they really want to take your life. This is what the demons are doing. They are conspiring your murder. The Ontario Police are gang stalking in furtherance of committing murder, having already committed attempted murder as an entity. And they are doing so under circumstances where they can control the narrative and take your life at the same time as a gang stalking entity under a fake sun and an engineer light, driving in light that's manifesting in the shade while they're gang stalking you with the gang stalkers that are using commercial planes as a means of massive facilitation. These demons are driving in impossible light activity while the demons of the Ontario International Airport are stalking by hovering over this storefront, and they're driving in while the fake sun is remaining over me. That's the pattern of conduct. And that psychopathic pattern of conduct, guess who it bears a reflection upon? The demons, not the American citizen that documents it. Okay, so the absurdity of the way in which the entity is engaging in corruption, that's also proof to you that it is government action. You only have that level of absurdity because the government itself is corrupt. How are you ever going to falsely depict the character and defame someone else while they're documenting the stalking behavior of another person, of another entity, of another department? Because they're engaged in, this is the system. That's how. That is so absurdly corrupt. It doesn't even make any sense. And it's the same with the entity that's facilitation. That's facilitation of this corrupt system. The government is not only proven by my evidence, you're getting to the logical explanation of how this is existing in the first place and how it's existing for so long. It requires. The government could not be anything other than engaging in this corrupt system, facilitating, enabling it. Everyone, every working part is not ignorantly engaging in it. That's the P.O.C. All right, and these images will be uploaded to the Google Drive at 7:19 a.m. I'm at the intersection of D Street and Euclid Avenue, where I am here earlier than I was yesterday. I'm going to show you the same circumstance. It's 7:19 and the fake sun is over me at the same intersection. Remember, Alex Escobar is at this intersection gang stalking with who you know is already engaged in targeting in this country. They make a lot of money with the United States, but they are an enemy of the United States, and that's the UPS. All right, they're gang stalkers, and they are gang stalking me at the same intersection at 12:51 in the afternoon with the demon who was going to federal prison, Alex Escobar, who committed kidnapping on July 4th, 2025, with the intent to obstruct justice, while the Ontario Police has been keeping me under surveillance for years, terrorizing me, which I proved through video documentation, substantial video documentation, and it is shared within a pattern of conduct that is published on the venue of the internet, that YouTube is engaging in a pattern of targeting with the intent to obstruct justice. I'm going to prosecute. Understand that this is not merely pointing out, oh, this is wrong and this is not right, and I'm just having a hissy fit on the internet. I'm going to prosecute you. And you've been given a warning. I'm going to prosecute you in court. This is actionable. It's an unlawful threat to the life of any American citizen, let alone myself, while I speak to prosecuting and legislating around this corrupt system in California and in the United States. I will prosecute you. Okay, for the corrupt operations of your business, which is facilitating conduct. You are engaged in gang stalking when you are facilitating. Whether you want to state you're doing it indirectly or ignorantly based on your policies, where your policies are facilitating what is the conspiracy to murder someone, you are on notice that you are facilitating it. And you do not have any rights under your so-called policies to enable a government to further obstruct justice, to conceal it, to protect any terrorist, any sex offender, any third-party state actor. You don't have any right under the operation of that company. That company is recognized through that conduct that is facilitating it, a gang stalker, engaging in that pattern of conduct. You are also inevitably a third party on the venue of the internet where surveillance is underway, but I will prosecute you based on your status, based on your facilitating conduct. And it is an unlawful threat to an American citizen. It is actionable. I'm letting you know right now, I'm going to prosecute you. Okay, it's currently 7:21 a.m. This is P.O.C. I'm at the intersection where, again, this is the evidence that's putting gang stalking police officers in federal prison. And one of their names is Alex Escobar, okay? This is P.O.C. All right, it is currently 9:23 a.m. This is documentation pursuant to surveillance that the entity is maintaining. I'm the entity is maintaining the light source, the engineered light, the terrorism, while mentally ill. Gang stalkers are keeping me under surveillance with the government. This is the population that's engaging in surveillance with the government, that's maintaining commercial flight over me at the Ontario Town Square under the fake sun, and maintaining what is the guise of business transactions. For example, everybody going into Wells Fargo is gang stalking, sharing in federal stalking, sharing in the domestic terrorism and psychological torture, stalking with impossible light activity, with the demons that are maintaining systematic surveillance, crossing a path, presence in the environment, where demons are monitoring together. And what demons, while they're monitoring, they're engaging in criminal surveillance. So this is documentation of the demons that are in relevant position at Ontario Town Square, which is surrounded by the Wells Fargo at 240 North Euclid Avenue, and the OVITT Family Community Library, the 280 North Lemon Apartments in Ontario, California City Senior Center, and Metro 102. This is the location where I'm at. License plate 07976L3. Engaging in surveillance, the engine running, just gang stalking, monitoring everything that I'm uploading onto the internet. Gang stalking, monitoring me while I'm being accosted with impossible light activity while I sit on the wall nearest the large, tall clock, and impossible light just fanning across the brick wall. That's pursuant to the demons that are patrolling on Euclid Avenue, just like you've seen them doing while they're terrorizing me as a population inside a Starbucks. And you can see them driving north and south on Euclid Avenue, and you're looking at the tornadoes of light swimming all across them, all that demonic light activity. That's what's happening outside. And this demon is monitoring. License 07976L3, 8FHG211, 6XCP114, 9MHN922, 8VXF855. And Wells Fargo, the establishment, and every employee inside of this venue are engaging in sharing in that domestic terrorism, psychological torture, the perpetual sex offenses executed while the entity is stalking and molesting you with impossible light, and they are all engaging in the crime generally referred to as gang stalking. License 28609H3. License 8TVG842, 6SWU624, 9DFK437, 99752H2, 73449R1, 7VZJ3J1, I believe. License plate 24603E2. And the Ontario International Airport remains engaged in ceaseless surveillance throughout the city of Ontario. I document that as I go from venue to venue, as I am traveling on the roads and the highways where I remain under surveillance, which is relevant to the criminal conduct that the Alan D. WAPNER, that the Ontario International Airport, that every corrupt airline, those are corrupt businesses, are sharing in federal stalking. And that's why the commercial flight is maintained over the venue under the fake sun. License 88271P3. And with simultaneity, the impunity, that is the mental illness of demons that are using commercial planes to engage in demonic behaviors, which are accomplishing criminal surveillance, is underway at the same time. Right now at 9:26 a.m., which is flights that are not published on the website of the Ontario International Airport, and Alan D. WAPNER is going to be removed from office as well, and his criminal conduct with the criminal conduct of the airlines. This is speaking to what is a culmination regarding what is supported regarding public policy, regarding how domestic terrorism that is underway throughout corrupt cities like the city of Ontario, like the state of California, removing airports that are a threat to national security, because bigger picture is that demons that are flying commercial planes that are targeting American citizens are demons that commit mass murder and murder American citizens who pay to be aboard these corrupt airlines that systematically engage in taking the lives of people whom they're also gang stalking. And it is a national security threat, and justice also requires, since you're so devoted to criminal conduct, instead of maintaining a legitimate airport, minding your business, taking money, and then flying people where they want to go, instead of doing donuts and targeting and psychologically torturing and keeping American citizens' genitalia under surveillance, that is speaking to removing that airport altogether. It's a massive waste of money that could be more productively used. You don't want an airport, you don't need an airport, the airport will be removed because you will not engage in gang stalking an American citizen. A whole airport's operation for that purpose, and that's what Alan D. WAPNER is engaging in. That's what he's facilitating. That's what he is in leadership of. And he is deliberately engaging in that. He makes a lot of money doing it too. And that's also why you're removing that airport and you're removing that demon from position. It is currently 9:27 a.m. This is P.O.C. at the Ontario Town Square.
That's monitoring. It's federal stalking pursuant to my devices. Those are the same demons that are stalking with impossible light activity, like I documented, that's moving across this wall, pursuant to the pattern of conduct that you already know the people of the state share. Demon stalking. Theorized light, right? The context is that the fake sun is, and demons manifesting as they are stalking with light activity, driving state vehicles. American Medical Response is engaged in domestic terrorism and psychological torture. Those are demons driving ambulances while they're stalking, as opposed to responding to an actual emergency. Those who they are intending to in any sort of emergency where they are admittedly engaging in surveillance throughout the city of Ontario, they're doing so while they are responding to the people of the state who are engaged in criminal summoning with them. Pay attention to the city of Ontario, the police department engaging in criminal summoning with the people of the state. For example, your typical traffic stop is where the elements of monitoring are coexisting, and this is the malicious pattern of conduct. They are sounding sirens crossing path while the entity is engaging in the identical pattern of conduct, and it is currently 9:44 a.m. The entity is keeping the fake sun at 9:32 in the morning at the Ontario Police Department at 2500 Archibald Avenue off of the 60 freeway, and that's context regarding what is activity creation and massive facilitation and the necessity of removing demons who operate as EMTs, driving ambulances, being in a position to harm American citizens, psychologically torturing them, but yet being in the medical field. This is that paradox. This is that system. This is that entity that's engaging in predatory behavior, psychopathic behavior in the mental, suffering from severe mental illness that wants to present itself as being some sort of compassionate hero in the medical field. This is the fake sun over the same Ontario Town Square where I am present at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. At what is 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Ontario Police gang stalking, 6 o'clock in the evening, the same Ontario Town Square, when this fake sun is right here while I'm at the entrance of, that's the OVITT Family Community Library, that's where demons are driving an ambulance. It's referred to the gang stalker American Medical Response. Contracted with cities throughout California engaging in state surveillance, by the way. This is P.O.C. That's criminal summoning. The elements of monitoring, those are demons manifesting right in front of your face. It's public corruption. It's P.O.C. It's currently 9:45 a.m. Remember, the entity at 9:45 in the morning has the fake sun over the staircase, the west end of the Economy Inn at 231 South Euclid Avenue, where Ontario police are engaging in another iteration of criminal summoning. Where the people of the state that are gang stalking, they summon the entity that is gang stalking with them, i.e. Ontario Police, where you are looking at that environment where a malicious iteration of a pattern of conduct where the entity is targeting one person together. And that is being present, which is communicating an unlawful threat to that targeted individual that's suffering in silence. And the fake sun is proving that while it's over the staircase at 231 South Euclid Avenue, while American Medical Response are a bunch of psychopath, sex-offending demons who are gang stalking in an ambulance. Absurdly demented behavior. And your prosecution for engaging in stalking someone as a corrupt government actor, doing things like stalking and manifesting as demons, exhibiting mental illness while driving an ambulance, is the very evidence that's going to be used to diagnose mental illness in the prosecution of the entity that is engaged in gang stalking. There's no sun that's over the Ontario Town Square and simultaneously over 231 South Euclid Avenue where this demon's engaged in long surveillance by sitting in the white van whose license plate I documented, going inside engaging in a transaction with Wells Fargo. Is Wells Fargo sharing in that criminal where the fake sun is over that establishment, and I'm subject to ongoing gang stalking here at 224 North Euclid Avenue. Okay, not over the roof of Economy Inn where Ontario Police license 1644200. He's going to federal prison. He's going to federal prison. All right, as every other gang stalking police officer with the Ontario Police, they're going to federal prison, and you're looking at the entity that's engaging in this P.O.C. It is currently 9:47 a.m. License 7 PLP 308, stalking with impossible light activity. Okay, this is the pattern of conduct. You'll see the fake sun move as I move from the Ontario Town Square. I've been here for a little under 2 hours, and the fake sun moves as I move to the entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library. And en route on foot, demons are stalking with regard to every step that I take toward that doorway, and they're stalking while light travels all across the buildings while they're all stalking together, and these are demons. or of all races, by the way, 8ZKP547, okay, representing white people that are stalking black people while they also want to maintain a narrative that's designed to create an illusion so that you don't know who you are and you feel less about yourself, which you should never put anyone in any position to deceive you like that about who you are and your self-worth is. And the substance of your self-worth, which shouldn't be under any sort of contingency regarding what you're learning, that they are demons that engage in that sort of conduct. That's why these demons that are stalking while they're crossing path and then going about the rest of their day, that's exactly what's going to be addressed with regard to the terrorism underway in California. And this is psychopathic. This is the population that are mentally ill. Okay, P.O.C. The 280 North Lemon apartments are filled with gang stalkers that are over the age of majority. This is the elderly population gang stalking. Okay, when Engineer Light is moving across their apartment building where they live, they are engaging in that pattern of conduct as well. All right, so it's not just the demon that's crossing path and that impossible occurrence alone no, the demons inside of that building are stalking as well. They're all under the fake sun. Where the demons are flying over that senior citizen complex, those senior citizens are gang stalking. When those senior citizens are engaging in what is criminal summoning with the fire department and American Medical Response, those demons, 6WCX463, are engaging in that pattern of conduct. Okay, so you already know that from Woodside Senior Apartments, you're looking at demons that are relying on welfare to pay their rent, don't go to work, sit at home gang stalking all day with the government, and at that age where they're sitting around with edema, liver spots, high blood pressure, and a heart condition, and they're sitting around engaging in terrorism as demons, around the block from their demise, if you will, and gang stalking at that old age. Satan doesn't have an age or a race or an economic bracket. Okay, Satan doesn't exercise intellect. Satan engages in satanic, spiritually significant behavior, and you're recognizing it through the behavior of those that are of that condition. And you're also thereby able to diagnose mental illness by their absurdly corrupt, criminal, malicious, and demented behaviors. Literally the ability to diagnose by criminal conduct. And it's the elements of monitoring. It is currently 10:06 a.m. I'm going to make it the fake sun at the entrance now of the OVITT Family Community Library.
All right, it's 10:17 a.m. and I'm showing you images of predators, gang stalking, and going into the bathroom to make sure they have my vagina surrounded. The males and females, the sex offenders gang stalking together. You'll see that surrounding behavior centered on the bathroom where I potentially may go. Even if I do, whether I don't, they're still monitoring in those bathrooms. And this is what the demons who are sex offenders of both genders engage in. And you'll see this couple gang stalking me with Southwest Airlines. This is the African-American male, the white, she appears to be either Caucasian, she could be Latina, fair skin, Caucasian female with black bottoms and a ponytail top, and they're just appearing on the surface to be, actually on the surface with regard to exposing the specific environment, they don't appear, but this is how the pattern of conduct is supposed to appear to the untrained eye, okay? The entity is the people of the state, not only Southwest Airlines, that I'm focusing with regard to legal analysis. I'm analyzing these demons that are as a couple crossing path under the fake sun and engineered light, and they go right to the bathroom where I'm typically going upon entrance to the venue of the OVITT Family Community Library, and they do so with regard to the purpose of having engineered light that you'll also see surrounding that bathroom, and it also fills that bathroom. And this is speaking to the sex offense of predators of both genders, all races and all ages, who are focused together, as that fake sun presence and engineered light and stalking by the government also proves, on monitoring the genitalia of the targeted individual, stalking them. And it's psychopathic, and it's also predatory. And it is the secret of the sex offenders who are engaging in that pattern of conduct, who are of this mentally ill condition that wants to present itself as going about minding their business, just having a nice walk on a sunny day, and having no idea about who the targeted individual is, and going about engaging in what are constitutionally protected and private speech, and it is none of the above. It's entirely malicious, and it's psychopathic, and it's also sexually perverted. This couple at the same time enters into both restrooms, and they're engaging in surrounding conduct. And when you're looking at what is monitoring, the entity is maintaining presence, traffic, activity, and so you'll have additional males maintaining, so that one person doesn't have to remain in there. They're maintaining traffic inside of those venues with regard to what is a sex offense that the untrained and undiscerning observer has no ideas underway, and this is revealing the sex offense committed by the government, so the sex offense committed by the establishment, the sex offender committed by those specific actors who are acting as an entity. And that's that same Jezebel spirit, the pervert that is centered on and focused on your genitalia, that is engaged in obsessively stalking you, and is doing all manner of sexually perverted and sexually motivated acts to keep you under surveillance. And that's what's illustrated in the images of those two sex offenders entering to both restrooms to engage in criminal surveillance on behalf of the government that's using planes, having nothing to do with, and there is no reconciling. How are you departing, rising in elevation, in other words, taking off from the airport, and then flying at low elevation over 280 North Lemon Apartments at the time and date in the direction that you're going at that noise level, all full comprehensive analysis of everything that L&D WAPNER is engaging in. All right, that's speaking to what is the maintenance of the elements of monitoring under the fake sun that you also know is still there at 6:22 p.m. All right, when I'm documenting the same conduct, monitoring my genitalia, which is what the people of the state, this is what the government is interested in and concerned with and obsessed with, while they're also conspiring your murder. They worship your genitalia. All right, they are engaged in sexually traumatizing you in ways that the ordinary target individual cannot define, cannot understand, cannot reconcile, cannot prove. And that's relevant to psychological torture. This is the entity that is a sex offender. It is currently 10:21 a.m. This is at the same venue. It's August 7, 2025, and this is P.O.C. License. Let me show you. You'll see this third party stalking with the airport. He's right in step with the plane, which is the guise of amplified audible activity. It's demonic. And his license plate is 9SAJ570. And you'll also see the fake moon in alignment with my person. This is the ambush behavior of L&D WAPNER, a domestic terrorist, a violent sex offender, a gang stalker, engaging in what is also his obsession with me. L&D WAPNER is very much aware of the fact that I have already publicly exposed him and prosecuted him on the internet, and I will be prosecuting the state of California based on his criminal conduct. And this is why the corrupt companies, every airline is engaged in targeting me, while this terrorist, calling himself the president of the airport authority, is maintaining, facilitating, funding, enabling ongoing terrorism by that airport, where they're flying over the Wells Fargo at 240 North Euclid Avenue, where a demon's engaging in surveillance, stalking with light, exhibiting mental illness, and just hops out and conveniently goes to the ATM, which is going to be used as an admission to criminal presence and activity creation, not coincidentally happening under the fake moon, where the fake sun remained all day long. And while the demons of the Ontario International Airport already established terrorists and sex offenders stalking me everywhere in the city of Ontario and throughout the San Bernardino County, by the way, and doing so while they are in step, because that's what you'll see, this demon walking while the fake moon is over the building. He is stalking with light. You know he's walking in engineer light. That's why he has perpendicular shadows. That's a demon. And these are the demons that then go home to his baby mama, his gay lover, his wife, whatever it is that he's laying down at night, so that he doesn't have to hear the demons and how much he hates himself while he's in the middle of the night stalking a woman who he does not personally know. That's a demon, and that's a mentally ill person who is a sex offender, also monitoring my vagina as a population, because he's not an individual. He's in the shoes of the state, and he's acting as the entity full of sex offenders gang stalking with the city of Ontario. That is also why the Ontario Police Department is being disbanded. It's currently 8:58 p.m. as I walk out, and that ambush conduct is what I'm greeted with while the demon possessed sit around stalking all day long inside of the OVITT Family Community Library. Equally maniacal behavior, beating on objects while they're hostile to what I'm publishing, was simultaneous to the operation of my device while I'm on my laptop, while I'm documenting it. And then the demons are stalking, monitoring my vagina as I go into the restroom, stalking, tracking my steps as I walk out, engaging in all manner of psychopathic surrounding behaviors, waiting for the entity to punctuate that stalking conduct with the state, who is hovering over the Ontario Town Square and the Wells Fargo under the fake moon in engineered light as I walk out. That's the P.O.C. That's the state acting directly and vicariously. All right, it's currently 8:58 p.m. This is P.O.C. as the entity is stalking me as I'm walking north of Euclid Avenue. It's P.O.C. All right, Chevron at 506 North Euclid Avenue is gang stalking, as the Ontario Police stalking in helicopter clearly indicates, and the fake moon moving as I move. 8YJZ572, 9MBE594, and Chevron is making money profiting off of gang stalking me. Indeed, the demons themselves go to purchase something at the facilitating venue while they're gang stalking me in furtherance of murder and kidnapping, which is also sponsored by Chevron. a domestic terrorist. License 7PFZ 759 PL8 PLUG. License plate 9NJB 865, and you'll see the images of the Ontario police following me. All right, the evidence of following is the fake sun all day over me. The evidence of following me as a population and a government and all of the levels of government, as I've shown you, following me, is shown through the engineered light that's present at nightfall when the fake sun is not there. Okay, this is the P.O.C, and you are also following when I'm at your establishment, and you're there when I'm at your establishment and the specific environment is there. That's the malice behind gang stalking in the first place, and the demons shall be both diagnosed and criminally prosecuted for the illusions that they surround American citizens with in order to psychologically torture them and also maintain surveillance while they're monitoring them, keeping them under surveillance. And that's the federal RICO case against the people of the state. This business name is Chevron. It's the same legal analysis. It is currently 9:05 p.m. Those images will be uploaded, and the Ontario police are gang stalking by flight over the Bethel congregation, United Church of Christ, that building at F and Euclid. That's where the African American male was gang stalking by just parking in the red. It doesn't even matter if he was legally parked. He's stalking in the path, maintaining light activity for all the patrolling demons on Euclid Avenue, who are stalking together as a population with Chevron, who is going to be prosecuted for that. It is currently 9:06 p.m. This is P.O.C. All right, license 8 UKA 748, EB 71P35, that's paper. These are all demons stalking at the 7-Eleven where you saw the fake sun and engineered light inside of the 7-Eleven. And the obsessors, again, they refuse. The government is maintaining ongoing monitoring, regardless of the fact that they've already been proven to be stalking and further into trying to murder me in secret, regardless of the fact that it's published on the internet and everyone is witnessing that, regardless of the fact that the federal government will never permit them to actually accomplish the criminal objective at the outset. This is speaking to the obsession of the government and the demon-possessed who are obsessively stalking. That obsession is witnessed by you through the light. This demon license EB71P35, and the rest of them that are lined up, which you'll see in the image while I'm inside of 7-Eleven, is speaking to a population. This is, in your mind's eye, you ever seen I Am Legend? You've ever seen the demons that are chasing after people? This is what the demons are doing while they are obsessively maintaining presence and light, okay? And so this is speaking to, again, impunity, but practically, you're witnessing demons that will refuse to abort the mission, refuse to stop aiming light. They have to maintain that activity. They have to stand there regardless of being documented and going to federal prison for it. For example, like the Gang Stalking Police Department, Ontario PD. Monitoring with this sex offender, EB71P35, he's engaging in the same thing that the demon driving the black vehicle this morning under the fake sun at 8 o'clock in the morning, and that impossible light activity was inside of the store. He's doing the exact same thing at nightfall, stalking with light, and they know that they're being documented, and the sex offenders, the demons, the living dead who are engaged in government action are obsessed, and they refuse. Their obsession supersedes what is consequences for what is no longer secretly underway or intelligently underway. 629 PBT Oregon and 8 UKA 748. These are sex offenders. You need to understand that obsession that you're witnessing while maintaining, stubbornly, defiantly maintaining presence, maintaining light, maintaining activity, they're doing so with regard to obsession concerning my vagina. And that is always what you are mindful of, the sex offender. And you don't have to wait until the target individual is raped to witness and understand and prosecute for the sex offense. The entity is waging an unprecedented sexually violent threat while a bunch of hollowed out zombies are obsessively stalking a woman 24 hours a day with the government. Obsessing over her genitalia, stalking in bathrooms, stalking by maintaining presence obsessively all around that bathroom. And that is evident also through the specific environment. That's a sexually violent threat. That's terrorism that, again, 7-Eleven at 636 North Vine Avenue is going to be prosecuted for. The domestic terrorist is a commercial actor. The domestic terrorist is a government body. The domestic terrorist is a population of demons. All right, and they are all sharing a mental illness which is capable and is necessarily identified with regard to the propaganda, the illusions that the wicked, the demon-possessed, put out, especially in this country, with regard to mischaracterizing and misleading regarding what mental illness looks like, behaves like, what its symptoms are. And the average person is sick, mentally sick. This pattern of conduct is underway through the entire state of California. And then you have those that are walking around with the diagnosis of mental illness. And that, again, that's speaking to the ongoing illusion. Those that are of homosexual lifestyles, it is not those that are only claiming to be of that lifestyle, or those that dress and behave in a whatever way that you think means that they're homosexual, or because they're openly engaging in homosexual activity with someone obviously of the same sex. The demon-possessed are engaged in homosexual behaviors, gang stalking men and women. They're also engaged in what is sexually dysfunctional and unhealthy behavior, gang stalking, being sexually obsessed with your relative that you're monitoring, and you're monitoring their genitalia in the bathroom. That's what Tracy Banks is doing by gang stalking me and monitoring my vagina, being sexually obsessed with me. And it's incestuous. It's also demonic. It's the same thing with regard to mental illness. It is not limited to those that are merely clinically diagnosed. And who is also rendering the diagnosis? Oh, the demons that I've documented gang stalking me while trying to criminally defame me where there is no mental illness, and I'm actually looking at somebody that is demented while they're kidnapping me, and they actually thought that they were going to get away with it because they have MD at the end of their name. I'm going to prosecute them. I'm going to prosecute them like the certifiable social needs, special needs population that they are. Stalking me obsessively outside of the 7-Eleven when you're seeing a line of vehicles with lights, and they refuse to abort the mission. They refuse to. You need to understand that that's obsession with regard to my genitalia, with regard to every detail concerning my life. People that I've never met in my life, and they are the demon-possessed that are gang stalking. All right? It's P.O.C. It's currently 9:28 p.m. at 636 North Vine Avenue. That's the 7-Eleven, which is a facilitating venue. All right, it is 9:42 p.m. Stalking with the Ontario International Airport that's following as I'm walking from 7-Eleven back toward Euclid Avenue, where the entity is maintaining low hovering planes, coexisting with impossible light activity and amplification. And the people of the state are engaged in surveillance as a city, including license 9APY925, 7KOZ048, and the establishment, which is Starbucks itself, located at 507 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California, 91762. And everyone on the job is engaging in federal stalking while simultaneously engaging in the operations of that business. That's the federal RICO case. License 7GWD227. The demons that are in the drive-thru are engaged in federal stalking simultaneously with ordering the drink. Literally, the process of engaging in that is the criminal monitoring behavior. 8RNL383, license 9RGX430, 9RXS775, 5HKF011, and 8NWV202. And I believe that is the third party that was engaged in kidnapping, Amelia. The entity is engaged in the P.O.C. It's currently 9:43 p.m. That's the P.O.C. The entity is engaging in targeting. The fake moon is no longer over the OVITT Family Community Library, where you saw the gang stalker with Wells Fargo and the gang stalker identifying as Alan D. Wapner, while a commercial plane hovers over that bank. The fake, which you've seen the fake sun over here too. The fake moon is moving as I move as well. The evidence of stalking by a whole airport, and also the president of the airport authority, Alan D. Wapner. And that fake moon is over me here where I'm documenting the people of the state. It's currently 9:44 p.m. That's criminal monitoring by ARCO, located at 434 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California, 91762. The gang stalker is engaged in a business transaction with that third-party establishment. The entire crime scene moves as I move, and ARCO is criminally in the path, maliciously engaging in state surveillance, which is relevant to the federal RICO case. And that third party in particular engaging what is harassment via amplification and stalking on behalf of a government that is masquerading while Alan D. Wapner hides behind the assumed anonymity, and it's a false assumption. All right, that false assumption. All right, that faulty premise equals the federal prosecution of the government in the United States for surveillance that is supposed to secretly be going on, and it's no longer a secret, based on a whole false presumption, okay, which a lot of people are going to pay, not just monetarily, but with their very liberty. They're going to prison. It's currently 9:46 p.m., where ARCO is engaging gang stalking with also the Ontario Police Department. Okay, fake moon, engineered light. You already know what they're doing. Corey Watson is using an announcement in the middle of the night, 11 o'clock at night, and nobody's making any sort of criminal summoning, or at least they shouldn't be, but you know that they always are when nothing but documentation is happening, and they're engaging what is monitoring that documentation. But that's relevant to stalking by the Ontario Police, who are merely crossing path in my line of vision, because they're always gang stalking in this specific environment throughout Ontario, including when I'm in the bathroom, anywhere in Ontario, including at any location where I remain, such as Tracy Banks's apartment in Ontario. Okay, she's going to federal prison. All right, it is currently 9:46 p.m. at 507 North Euclid Avenue, P.O.C. License plates. Oh, I can't really see that one. The people of the state crack me up. License 9178. Oh, I can't really see that one. He's right. 9 ROC 133. 9 NWC 242. They're stalking with the demons that went inside a Starbucks to gang stalk. CHO 5878. They went inside a Starbucks. Remember, it's an entity, so a demon that thinks that they're speeding off. Oh, you can't see my license plate. Get their co-defendant that's right behind them. Get their co-defendant that's inside of the venue that you're standing at, that you're remaining in. Get the co-defendant that's flying in a helicopter over your head. License 23071H3 and license 7DXG120. It is currently 9:49 p.m. This is P.O.C. License plate 5MVF 945 and MVRK 85. This one is definitely correct. MVRK 85. Molesting with light. She goes into Starbucks to engage in a transaction. That's the federal RICO case about the demons that are engaging in domestic terrorism together. All right, she's doing so while molesting my person with light. That's a sex offender. That's a psychopath. That's a demon. That's a state actor. Okay, it's P.O.C. at 507 North Euclid Avenue. They are sharing in that sexual violence together. License 9LQU976. It's currently 10:26 p.m. All right, this is documentation regarding Chevron 506 North Euclid Avenue. Chevron is the establishment where the specific environment is maintained. That is the establishment itself that is engaging in what is domestic terrorism, as the people of the state are using that facilitating venue as a means of crossing path. This is criminal presence by the government, having no warrant, no probable cause to directly nor vicariously engage in molestation with impossible light activity, to engage in being anywhere in the path in order for me to be subject to ongoing monitoring, ongoing surveillance, the ongoing sex offense that engineered light is molesting all over my breasts, all over my thighs, while Chevron is on the opposite side of this extensive street, and the demon possessed, who are the people of the state that have already captured stalking under the fake sun, on the roads and the highways, while the government is stalking in the sky space. That's exactly what's underway under the fake moon. And Chevron at 506 North Euclid Avenue, it is currently 11:18 p.m., is ceaselessly engaging in that, and that's relevant to the prosecution of the entity with deeper pockets and prosecuting the people of the state. The entity is flying over that venue and engaging in federal stalking, harassment. So while I'm listening to content, just to give you an example of the entity that is gang stalking with the purpose to psychologically harm, this is the very foolish conduct of demons who are defendants targeting the federal prosecutor, who is going to use the evidence, that is the documentation, to put very specific defendants identified in federal prison cells. And these demons engage in the following. They are stalking in commercial airline planes, stalking in a helicopter, stalking in small planes, amplified and audible activity, so that you're letting me, the federal prosecutor, know that you're stalking. I hear you, you're monitoring. You're in the environment where the fake moon is over. You're in the crime scene. You're engaging in criminal presence. And the entity also engages in federal stalking, interrupting the Wi-Fi network so that I can more clearly be harassed and terrorized with the audible activity and criminal presence and the engineered light by the state that is stalking using planes on this same street and flying over the establishment, the third party, the domestic terrorist. That is Chevron at 506 North Euclid Avenue. Just to give you an example of how you're going to legally analyze in order to prosecute. And the entity, Chevron's not acting by themselves. the entire state. This is how you're prosecuting, and everybody that's living. Let me be clear, the people of the state that are living in their little third-party facilitating venues, their shacks, where they're living north of Euclid Avenue, south of Euclid Avenue, east to west of Euclid Avenue. In other words, a relevant position, the city of Ontario is gang stalking, while these demons are keeping the specific environment around me on Euclid Avenue. The entire city is building up its own case against itself. And I'm documenting this because I'm going to prosecute the city of Ontario. The entity is engaging in this P.O.C. and is doing so with the intent to psychologically harm, harass, and terrorize while they interrupt the internet. That's the federal stalking conduct in the first place. Interruption with internet, operation of my communication device, doing so that the content that I'm listening to will stop so that I can more clearly prosecute the demons who are both buffoons and defendants in the federal case against the state of California. These demons that are gang stalking in Ontario in the middle of the night. Okay, I just want to document that. I am being molested with impossible light activity by sex offenders that are obsessed with me. They worship me, and they're also at the same time equally hostile and aggressive with regard to conspiring my murder, wanting to witness my physical, emotional, psychological demise, wanting to also obsessively follow me, pursue me, not only physically in the path, stalking, relevant positioning, but also with light and with ongoing audible activity while these are demons who are monitoring. This is demonic activity. I want to make sure that that's thoroughly clear. I'm uploading this because it is going toward the prosecution, the disbanding, the federal imprisonment, etc. of the entire entity. It is currently 11:21 p.m. This is P.O.C.